Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello race fans and welcome to the Apex Racing League GT Trophy live from Brands Hatch in Kent. My name is Peter Mackay and joining me in the Apex Racing TV commentary box tonight is Sam Fitzpatrick with our producer Dennis Branch, bringing you these beautiful images of this masterpiece of a circuit and also the very snazzy SDK Gaming graphics. Sam, we're getting to the end of the Apex Racing League GT Trophy, very much the business end of the championship, and BMW have kind of had it all their own way through most of the season, but here at Brands, I don't foresee it being that the case.
Definitely. Of course, last time out we went to Red Bull Ring, which is one of the highest speed circuits, lots of long straights, really acceleration important, top speed important. Couldn't be any more different around this place. It just flows all the way through. The grunt of the cars is going to be far less important. And so that top 6 on the grid I think we had of BMWs last time out, I doubt it is going to be so dominant this time. And you're also right about the championship, really getting to the business end. Both the Pro and in particular the AM Championship still really alive. So I feel like this Brands Hatch circuit could provide some volatile racing, could be an essential part of the season.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. I mean, let's have a look at the championship standings. And still, Gaten Anger, the defending champion, leads the point standings. But that's not really been the story. Gaten has been super consistent. He's only won one race at Hockenheim. But lots of other drivers who've maybe been that little bit quicker over a lap, but haven't been able to string it together. Kenny Rosen's in 5th place would be one example of that as well. But as you can see, Sven Newman just lingering there in the background. And of course, Sven Newman came so close to winning the Apex Racing League GT Championship a month or two ago, of course, in the GTE specification machine. So he'll be really, really hoping to make amends for that and overhaul Anger for the championship here.
Yeah, and I will just point out, I think this is the first time in the season where we've removed the drop score for the drivers. So this is their best 5 scores out of the first, best 4 scores, sorry, out of the first 5 meetings. These are probably a bit more reflective, let's say. But yeah, you're right about Newman. Of course, came so close to the GTE Championship, was super unlucky in the end. And I feel like he might even feel like he's the favourite because he's outscored Anger in the last 2 meetings. And so maybe things might be starting to go his own way. We also saw the Amateur Championship as well for a moment there. And Kalahea really driving well in that last round at the top of the championship. Karajiet in second place. Those two very much the favourite, but Dave Erden has had some good form. Hodgson has been consistent. Tom Bingham, of course, is a very competitive driver. Won the Teams Championship actually for performing in that GT Championship last season. So still very much up for grabs that one. That Amateur Championship really can go to any one of 20 drivers in each round of the series.
Fascinating viewing here with Gaten Anger, the number 138, just putting a tyre onto the grass there as well. Actually deliberately, by the looks of things, perhaps to cool the tyre temperature down. That's a bit of a trick that some of the drivers exploit here on the iRacing service. Now, looking on it was interesting there. That was one of the Valkyrie Esports BMWs going very slow. I think, again, trying to cool the tyres down. But Gaten Anger on pole position as things stands at the moment. And I did wonder if the Lamborghinis were going to really come to the fore here, Sam, because they're so good on those fast sweeping corners. And this should really suit the Bologna cars very well.
Yeah, if Red Bull Ring was kind of the grimace for them, this is their opportunity to gain a few more points for the Lamborghinis, and where the BMWs may struggle a little bit more. So yeah, this is, I think, a pretty big round for Anger. I think after tonight's round, I think we'll have a good idea of who's the favourite for the championship. Anger or Newman, those two certainly do seem to be the favourites, with 1 win apiece between the pair of them. So yeah, it's going to be a big one, as we've got an off for one of the Porsches right there, and Poulet trying to round the final corner at the moment. Can he improve? He had a pretty rubbish Red Bull Ring, I think, did Poulet last time out, but looking to improve this time.
Yeah, and a lot of that's going to come down to qualifying as well. Of course, a 60-minute race here at Brands Hatch, but can be quite tricky at times to get the overtaking manoeuvres done. And if you get stuck behind a driver that's maybe not running the pace that you desire, it can be intensely frustrating. What we won't see today, Sam, is that what we saw last week, and very much a strategic battle between the guys at the front, where fuel saving and just sitting in the draft of the car in front was very much the order of the day. But I don't think, well, obviously at Brands Hatch, you've just got so many twists and turns that's just not possible. So it's actually going to be much more of a straight fight on pace.
Yes, yeah, and that'll be a little bit frustrating, I'm sure, for many of the drivers, because they'll be thinking, well, I can't get past this guy, I need some strategy. But obviously, yeah, the fuel saving isn't really going to do a whole lot for you, as Mark Fletcher, who you haven't seen a whole lot this season, goes to the top of the standings. Terrific time for him there. But yeah, that would be a smaller importance. We could see a long train of cars. We did see it kind of at Red Bull Ring as well. But if someone outperforms himself in qualifying, they can keep that place for the entire hour potentially. So it should be a real fun one. And anyone who can make a move will very much deserve to move up any places. Pascal Sticks just lining up for another lap. The drivers get 4 lap times, by the way, so we're not going to use the full 10 minutes pretty much of this session. Most drivers are on their last lap now. A few drivers are moving on to their final lap, so the next kind of 3 minutes or so are absolutely pivotal.
They are indeed, and of course these beautiful swoops around the Kent countryside. Obviously a very undulating circuit here at Brands Hatch, where they've been racing here since 1928. But it wasn't actually a car race that they had to begin with. It was a race between cyclists and cross-country runners. And interestingly, the cross-country runners won. But then they did start racing here with cars, and it was paved in 1950 to accommodate the then growing appetite for F3 cars at that point. But it was one of the reasons why it's so undulating is because it was actually a military vehicle park during the Second World War, and it was extensively bombed. So that's why it's got so many kind of ducks. It's got so many ducks and swallows, and that's why it's so undulating. So. Yeah, what was originally obviously something quite nasty is turned us into, we managed to get a good racing circuit out of it at least.
Absolutely, that is very interesting. Yeah, because there's a lot of kind of, as you say, there's a lot of dips around it. It's not exactly, on a hill and then it's kind of slanted off the hill a bit, like maybe like Spa or something like that. It's kind of constantly up and down, up and down. No, it's a real fun circuit to drive this, and one of the biggest challenges for the drivers is just grass around everywhere, and if you're not using all the space on the circuit, you're not going to have any time. So once you dip around to the grass, particularly on iRacing, it's particularly harsh. If you do dip around to the grass, you are probably going to be spinning round. Lots of the top drivers have already set all their lap times, so Fletcher is on his last lap here, Marriott is also on his last lap, but everyone else in the top 12, you can see them all grayed out on the timing tower. They're all done their 4 laps as Kenny Roosens goes to the top. What a lap time that is. And if we had doubts about the BMW, well, Kenny Roosens showing how it can be very competitive around this Brands Hatch circuit. A driver who's probably out of the championship running, considering he's had one bad round and a couple of non-attended rounds this season, Roosens, but wow, he sure is quick.
Oh yeah, he is really making the most of that machine, that is for sure. Kenny Roosens is, I think, arguably is the guy who's had the fastest one-lap pace, but it's not quite come together for him, and that's where Gaten Anger has just been so impressive, where he's maximised everything that's been available to him. And I think, well, the thing is, with that lap from Kenny Roosens, not only does that put him on pole positions, it also bumps Gaten Anger back to the second row, and that little things like that can be vitally important in a contest as tight as this one.
That's a good qualifying though for Anger, isn't it? I mean, I was saying last time out how he's kind of got to the stage where he's so good in the race he doesn't need to be good in qualifying. Of course, he does need to be better in qualifying in a round like this, where it's so tricky to overtake. But I think that's his best qualifying for about 5 weeks or so, as Roosens goes even faster. Jeez, still not way ahead of Fletcher, but still a very good time. But yeah, I think that's Anger's best qualifying, Anger's best qualifying of the season. It might even be his best qualifying, so that's kind of ominous for the other drivers. If he's that quick in quali, then he's probably going to be maybe even the fastest driver out there come the race.
I think he could well be a big threat here. That is for certain. Well, qualifying ticks over then, and we'll be ready to go racing in just a moment here at Brands Hatch. So let's have a look at the grid and see how they line up for this 60-minute sprint race with a pit stop here at Brands Hatch. And the timing of that pit stop is going to be very, very important indeed, because if you're stuck in a bit of traffic, it could be important. So Kenny Roosens and Mark Fletcher will start on the front row of the grid with Gaten Anger and Pascal Stix for Corsim Racing starting on row 2. Maxime Marriott and Sven Newman start on the third row with Jonathan Poulet and Tom Dadswell on row 4. Mike Palich and Brandon Tiboni round out the top 10. Carl Winkler will start from 11th alongside Corentin Collignon. On row 7 will be Hakon Grebstad and Leon Penn, followed by Anders Ankersen and Øystein Herford. Stefan Nikolajevic will start from 17th alongside LMP2 AM champion Kieran Smart, with Vivian Debert and Tim Perry rounding out the top 20. Dan Murray will start from 21st alongside Josh Wiggins, with Juan Manuel Calleja and Alain Carigier rounding out row 12, 2 of our AM class title contenders there. Jason Hodgin will start 25th with Phil Reagan alongside him on row 13, followed by Dave Erdin, Dennis Meisner, Gavin Russell, Steve Brown, Richard Gavenku, Aaron Smith, Yuri Pepin Evers, JB Rasmussen, Angel Pedrero, and Paul Robson rounds out the first 18 rows, with Andrew Brema and Baptiste Schneider rounding out our 38 runners. And 38 cars at Brands Hatch. That's going to be pretty busy, Sam.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully we don't see an instant the paddock on the first lap, cars bouncing back into the track and potentially causing a pile-up. This is also one of the few circuits, I guess it's quite short, and also it's one of the older circuits on iRacing that we have a full formation lap, which is lovely. We can have a proper tour of this Brands Hatch circuit. But I was just looking at the previous race results, and it's a shame not to see Lemeray around here tonight, because of course he was leading back at Red Bull Ring very impressively before he of course cut the pit entry line. And it kind of reminds me of the pit entry line here, Peter, because I'm sure you've seen it on the broadcast that you've done around this track. It's probably the worst pit entry line in iRacing, because it's quite unclear where you need to get across. I mean, it's pretty much the white line, but when you're in the car, it's not particularly visible. And of course, we've seen Rusens lose a podium at Monza. We saw Lemery miss a chance at a win, certainly a podium, last time out at Red Bull Ring. I would be surprised if we don't see kind of 5 or 6 drivers all falling for the pit entry tonight.
Well, interestingly, I was watching the British Touring Car Championship round, which was on the Indy circuit, but using the same pit lane, of course, at the weekend. And I can't remember which driver it was, but it was, of course, you are basically pulling off into pit lane on the racing line. And you obviously have to slow down to go into pit lane, and it got sort of tapped from the back by Gordon Shedden, who really had nowhere to go. I don't think he was quite expecting the driver in question to go into pit lane. So we'll need to be careful for that as well, because when Lemery made that mistake, that's well remembered, when he made that mistake at Red Bull Ring, he did so while under extreme pressure from another driver. And then when Rosens made the mistake all the way back at Monza in round 1, it was trying to make his way around a back marker. So when to take that pit stop, sometimes that might dictate when to take the pit stop, when there's actually clean track to be able to do that without taking too much risk.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one, that. The drivers will try to go quite far, but maybe just being flexible with that timing of the pit stop could be absolutely useful. And yeah, you don't want to be under too much pressure by the time you come into the pits. As the drivers come round in the amateur standings, by the way, of course, as we went through on the grid, De Boer up at the front. Then it's Morley, Wiggins, Callagher only in 4th position, and he's next to Caragiet. So really watch out for that one. Watch out for De Boer and Mori, because no one's really had a great season in the amateur category. I mean, I've said it a few times this season, but there are a lot of points on the table in that category. And so if De Boer or Morley could get a race win tonight, they could bring themselves back into championship contention.
Well, we're about to go racing here for 60 minutes at Brands Hatch. Kenny Rosens holds the field under his control. He will prepare to open up that twin turbocharged straight 6 in the front of that BMW M4. It will make its race debut for real in a couple of weeks' time, but it's already alive here in the simulator, and we are racing in the Apex Racing League GT Trophy. Kenny Rosens makes it down into turn 1, into Paddock Hill Bend, nice and safely, with Anger now up to 2nd, and Fletcher's had a terrible start. He's down to 4th already, and Maxime Marriott in the Porsche up to 3rd.
Yeah, Fletcher kind of got pushed out a little bit by Anger there. I think it was all fair game, but both of them were desperate to keep that 2nd place heading into turn 1. But in the end, it was Anger staying ahead. Also, not a great start for Newman, I believe. Down a couple of places into 8th. Palic and Tabone also battling hard. Still De Boer and Mori at the front of the amateur category. So Javic is trying to get past Mark. Good start for Tim Perry as well, I'm seeing. Up 2 places for himself. As we cut to Palic finally consolidating that move on Tabone, but he really had to fight for that one on the first half lap.
Yeah, this is where it can really get quite nasty here on going through these really quick turns here at Brands Hatch. You've got to really have your eyes on the front, back and side of your head to be able to sort of survive in close combat here. But brilliant conduct from all the drivers who are obviously fully aware of that fact and just getting themselves settled into the rhythm. So Kenny Rosens leads then from pole position, but Gaten Anger right on his tail. So we're going to see that head-to-head battle between these pair. And Gaten Anger, I'm sure Actually, Sam, Gaten Anger is probably wanting to prove a bit of a point. He is the defending champion. He is leading the championship. But he has seen Rosens and his Valkyrie Esports teammates really get the share of the spoils so far. But he'll be wanting to prove that he can do it at the front as well.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, we've kind of been all this is Robson and Evers, I believe. They've escaped too much damage at least. But yeah, we haven't really seen Rosens and Anger go up against one another. We saw a little bit of Monza, but it was mainly Rosens making mistakes and catching up to Anger. And then he made another mistake, and then he caught back up to Anger. Oh no! Well, Lamborghini going in way too deep, going for his own move. The Portugal was very slow, to be fair. It was Robson who was going very slow. So you can kind of understand why Evers struggled a bit there to stop in time. But maybe the stewards will have a look at that one post-race. But yeah, still Rosens in the lead, and of course that BMW grunt should help him out. It's not going to make him immune from an overtake, because really Anger's best chance is going to be a surprise coming out of a corner more than, you know, at the end of one of the couple of medium-length straights we have around this circuit. But it should help the Belgian out a little bit, as he does actually pull away by a 10th on that last lap.
I think a good point for Gaten Anger might be up the hill from getting a good run through Paddock Hill Bend and then making a run into Druids at this tight hairpin here. I wonder if that might be a place where Anger can use the corner speed of the Lamborghini and try and swoop through and then make his move there, or perhaps really up in the other part of the circuit. You do have an opportunity at Hawthorne Bend, maybe Westfield as well, but it takes a pretty big move as well, and Rosens is no mug. Now, who is that off in the background? Oh dear. Oh, it's Kieran Smart. Oh dear. Well, he's that wasn't so clever. But of course, LMP2 AM champion in the Wave Italy ARL prototypes.
Well, that wasn't too clever.
That was my joke.
I guess not.
You stole my joke. You just did it.
Well, no. Well, I was seeing if maybe it got better the second time. It didn't. Oh no, Newman. Okay. Newman is off the circuit to get away from the banter, and he is right in amongst the amateurs now.
As Alan Partridge would say, top-notch banter.
From Norfolk, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about pedestrianising, what was it, Norwich? He said. Radio Norwich. Linton. Is there such a thing as the Linton Travel Tavern?
Not that I've been to. But, yeah. Anyway, Callagher, as he got past, was in 4th position. He's just got past his championship rival Carrier, as Phil Reagan, who was 3rd place in the amateur category, or amateur championship, sorry. He is a long way away from that now. Another incident at Druids.
It's a bit of a pity there for Phil Reagan in the Lamborghini. Let's get a look and see what happened to him here. Gets a good run through Paddock Hill, nice and tidy. Bit of help. Oh yeah, there's some help, all right. A Porsche to the quarter panel will usually offend.
Oh, look at Newman. That's risky. Wow. Okay, he's done a good job on this lap. Newman, I think he's getting 2 places. I think he's got past both Callagher. Maybe it was just Callagher. Carrier managed to stay ahead of Callagher after all that. Also Kofenko, who had a bad qualifying, making his way through, and Smith has gone off. So Smith's already had one bit of contact we saw down the French straight, or French curve, a couple of laps ago. He is in the wars as well. I wonder if we could get a replay, if we could, of Sven Newman's incident. I think we just saw the back end of it, but very rare to see Newman make a mistake like that. And if it ended like this, Anger's championship lead would increase considerably. This would be Newman's drop score, to be fair, so it would be muted slightly. But wow, with 4 rounds to go, when you've got a 10-point gap to make up, this really isn't the type of thing you need.
No, definitely not. This is at Stirling's and just loses it on the way in. It goes. What amazes me there, Sam, is that for a car with stability control and traction control and ABS, that went awfully early. It's quite a strange accident, actually.
Well, I thought he just clipped the grass on the outside, but it was marginal. Oh, that's in the wall. That's Angus.
Oh dear, put the brakes on. So,
Neiman.
it's a very strange one there. Of course, you can carry what feels like ludicrous speed through Stirling's bend. Makes you feel like Stirling Moss because it's so positively cambered. But the problem is there is always a limit, and that in a way that maybe just lulls you into a false sense of security. I don't know. It just seems that for a man of Sven Newman's caliber, it seems a bizarre accident.
Yep, and he's now in 19th place overall. The Jazz do score their points for their overall position, so Newman has to make sure he makes up these places, even though they're just on amateur drivers. And also Gafenki, who are just seen in the background there, getting past Karagier. So Karagier and Callagher, top 2 in the amateur championship, back with one another. But De Boer and Mori driving absolutely superbly at the moment, comfortably out in the lead in that amateur category. As Winkler is under pressure from Penn, so another core sim racing driver in a spot to bother at the moment. And last lap, Penn gained on him by 1/4 of a second, and Winkler was the slowest driver out of the top 11. So he's really not making any impression on the drivers ahead. Anger's making an impression though on Reasons, and in fact Marriott is staying close. He dropped back a little bit on the first lap, did Marriott, but he's kept fairly close since then. He's matching the top 2.
This is, I tell you what, oh, Tim Perry, oh dear. It's not been a good few days for Tim Perry, missing out at the last possible moment in the Wave Italy. Whoa, Kieran Smart, well, the 2 front runners in the P2AM Championship and for the Wave Italy Prototype Championship, both having problems there at the same corner. But yeah, this is fascinating at the front because Anger and Rosens are trading really fast laps. Not so fast that they're pulling away from Marriott, as you rightly pointed out, Sam, but we have seen Anger do this in Season 1, where, you know, he would, if he thinks, okay, there isn't a way to get by here, I might be quicker, but I can just conserve my own energy, my own tyres, my own fuel. And we have seen him do that, where get the Lamborghini just to stretch the fuel load a little bit longer. And not so much as not to the extent we saw at the Red Bull ring where nobody wanted to lead the thing. I think it's slightly different here, but Anger just taking his time there, not rushing anything. As his teammate Nikolajevic has a bit of a twirl.
That's a weird one as well for Nikolajevic. That was definitely on the grass, but we know how he got out that wide. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because, you know, everything's seemingly going towards Reasons, but just because, as this is a good battle, all taking it a little bit careful there. That was Pedrero being a bit cautious on the brakes, allowing Robson, who had that issue at paddock earlier on, to get past. Jewett, sorry, it was. But yeah, 9 times out of 10 we would be saying how Reasons is the favourite here, but just because it's Gates and Anger, I just feel as though Anger's probably the favourite. As Newman, it's under pressure from Gafenki. He just has not got the pace tonight, and you can't really blame it on the BMW because Gafenki is sharing that car. Podium sits Gafenki actually at Monza. It hasn't quite lived up to that level ever since then, but we know how quick he is. Wasn't able to pass on that occasion. Yeah, and those drivers, of course, gaining a couple of places with the issues for Perry and Smart.
Yeah, making full use of that. Oh, they've done those new Porsches sound so good. 4 litre flat 6, normally aspirated. This is the car that just won the Nürburgring 24 Hours in the hands of the Manthey team. Kevin Estra, Michael Christensen. Oh. You can see it's interesting there that you know, the driver we were on board with, they're really lifting and coasting a lot, going through some of the faster turns, just keeping an eye on that fuel consumption.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was deliberate lifting coast or whether he was just
not
maybe
into
taking
the car front.
yeah, which is a good tactic as well. I'm not faulting that by any means, but whether or not he wanted to save fuel, he was saving fuel, as Erden has gone in, and he qualified well, actually did Erden. He qualified, well, he qualified 27th, which was fairly high up in class, I believe. Maybe not, I'm not sure. Anyway, I remember thinking positive things about Erden, but well, that wasn't positive there, having an off.
It wasn't a Swiss roll.
So, wasn't a Swiss roll.
At least it wasn't a Swiss roll.
Okay, well, the Jake started off poor, and
They're getting
consistency right now.
Getting Anger's leading this championship through consistency. Sam.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, he is.
The difference is
Thank
his
goodness
driving. Oh,
Thank goodness there's no Finnish drivers out on track.
Oh god.
There's some. Are there any Swedish drivers? There's not actually. Or well, there's some Norwegian ones, so you could maybe use the old cliche.
Scandinavian flick, when no such thing happened. The imaginary Scandinavian flick.
Quite
I've tried to do a Scandinavian flick. I actually am glad to say I haven't, because I think it would end up just an accident.
So in real life? Is it very easy to do in a front-wheel drive car?
It must be very hard to do in a front-wheel drive car. Rear-wheel drive car a lot more easy. Or as the Finns say, it's quite easy. You just turn left and then turn right.
I don't think they usually do it in Citroen C1s, so
no,
that's
no. Mind you, quite a short wheelbase in a Citroen C1. You know, it could get a little bit twitchy on the limit.
Yep.
If that car doesn't end up being a race car, then you've failed, Sam.
Well, it is dying slightly, unfortunately. It has some bad news. Apparently, it doesn't drive in reverse anymore.
Well, you don't need that when it's a race car. That's fine.
No.
That's what marshals are for. He'll pop it in neutral and look at a push.
Yeah. 24 hours at Spa. Come on, guys. Just a rouge.
Yes.
Push it up, please.
Yep. Yeah, you need. It's a good job that it's downhill on the way to Rouge. You get the run up. Oh dear. Well, it's fascinating at the front here. 15 minutes in, the deadlock is not broken, and interestingly, Marriott is actually pulling in on Anger now, because Anger appears comfortable to sit behind Rosens, but how long will he? Because Marriott is definitely closing them down. I tell you what would give us a really good indication is if we ride on board with Anger, and then we'll be able to tell if he's, you know, absolutely pushing really hard, or if he's just taking it nice and steady. Let's listen. I mean, not overly, a little bit, but not massively so, Sam.
It's tricky to tell. I think maybe into Druids might be the only chance, because that's the only proper braking zone. Ooh, Alain Cargiet. Oh dear, that is at least it's not a Swiss roll, but he has dropped positions. Oh, that wasn't bad. That was good. Come on, you're learning. Well done. You're like an AI. He's bad joke.
Predictable,
bad joke.
just very predictable. I like that. That's a good analogy. Oh dear. Dan Murray here, trying to get past. A quiet day for Richard Gavenki. Of course, he started from the back, of course, didn't he? Serving a qualifying ban, I presume.
I think he qualified though. So
Really?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he was disturbed, but yeah, certainly wasn't reflective of his pace. Had some issue. Smart, just going past Russell. Yeah, Newman. I think he was right on the tail of Newman, but Newman's just got past Dabur, and so Gafenki hasn't got past there yet. So we'll need to nice and quick. But yeah, Cargiet now quite a long way behind his main rival Callagher. Those two were very close to one another. Now 4 seconds is the gap, the top two in the amateur championship. But still De Boer and Mori leading in that amateur race tonight. About 3 seconds off the lead is Callagher, who does usually come on strong in the race, as Dennis Meisner has had an issue, and that's the first problem we've seen so far at
Hawthorne.
Hawthorne.
Derek Min, great actually, sort of between Hawthorns and Westfield. I love the fact that the Mike Hawthorne, Kieran Smart, for goodness sake.
He stole my verse.
Yeah, sure, it's probably a really sophisticated car. It's probably got 2. Yeah, he can lend you one. Goodness. Now this corner here, a sheen curve. Occasionally, when you see when the superbikes come here, when you occasionally see riders lose it there, and it's most of the time the bike ends up halfway up a tree. It's not pretty. But yeah, the thing I love about Mike Hawthorne, which of course is one of the many big names whose name is honoured in the corners here. Of course, we're about to go right through Stirling's end right now, named after Sir Stirling Moss. And Mike Hawthorne he was Britain's first world champion in 1958 and a Le Mans winner in 1955. But the coolest thing was he always wore a bow tie with his overalls. So he was a proper gentleman driver in the true sense of the word.
That's pretty cool.
Gavenku's good run comes to a temporary stop.
Now I don't think that corner has even got a name. It's a king.
That is Dingledale. That's through Westfield and down to Dingledale.
Aye, apologies.
That was made a bit of a Dingledale.
You've receded.
No. My consistency's going. The lap times are all over the place.
Man, with not even a third of the way into this race. And I think it's 3-1 so far. Or 1-3, right?
Well, let's see if Liam Penn is going to write another chapter into the folklore of Scottish motor racing history.
It was better.
Oh dear. Dear me. You bring this out in me, Sam. I'm so well behaved now.
Well, yeah, we bring the worst out of one another.
I think so.
This is the worst broadcast on Apex Racing TV each week. Thank goodness we don't do 4 a week or 3 a week like we used to do. Nicola Jamie just
winter
past. Yeah. But by the way, of course, this broadcast is dreadful. The racing is very good, but us guys aren't very good. If you subscribe to Apex Racing TV, then you can watch so many good broadcasts, professional commentators and everything, all through the week. 20 odd broadcasts a week, every night of the week, featuring GT cars, prototypes and all sorts. So do click the like button, subscribe, get notifications as well, and then you can see whenever we go live. Maury's just got past De Boer. We've got both the lead in the Pro and the AMS real close, but Maury has just got past De Boer, so good work from him there, as I think Anger might be going for a move against Rusens into Hawthorne Bend. Rusens, though, managing to repel that, but I think you mentioned it earlier on, Peter, if Anger was happy to sit behind earlier on, with Marriott now on the tail, with Fletcher coming into play, he can't afford to wait any longer.
No, that has changed the complexion of what he's able to do there. If they were out on their own, I think he would have just sat underneath the spoiler of Rosens and just clicked out those consistent laps and did so whilst using less fuel. But yeah, it changes now. I think Marriott has really got the pace, and the thing is that Porsche, it has such, there's certain parts of the circuit where it has a real advantage. It's got amazing traction off the corner. You can plant your foot, and the combination of the 4-litre flat 6 engine right over the back wheels, over the driven wheels, that really gives it a nice traction advantage. But also, I think the way that it's been calibrated in the electronics, you can just crank the throttle open much earlier than you could in some of the other cars, which would maybe get a little bit looser and you struggle to get the power down. But where that's relevant at Brands Hatch, certainly coming out of Druids would be a good way to set up a move into Graham Hill Bend, possibly. So let's see what Marriott's got in the tank. Whoa, well, there you go. Rosens is pushing. He sees what's happening behind him. And he's thinking, oh, better get a shift on here because there's a queue forming behind.
Yeah, I think it might be that type of incident. That might be Anger's best chance. A mistake from Rosens. On Friday night, we had the Radicals round this circuit, and surprisingly, it was Sheen's, which was the main overtaking spot. Lots of times drivers were able to get underneath, and once you kind of get half your car alongside, the outside driver either has to fight it and crash, or just let you have the position. It's not a very polite move, but it works many times for the drivers on that occasion. Wonder if he could maybe adopt that strategy, see if that works. As two of the Norwegian drivers, driving of course both for Luminous Racing, Grebstad and Hereford. I believe they're still they are still the same way round. I think Hereford was particularly close to these drivers actually earlier on. Yeah, it was actually just a very poor lap for Winkler, Penn and Grebstad. Grebstad in particular had a poor lap. So no changes of position, but they all kind of just dropped back as Gafenku practicing his overtaking. He's probably done half the overtakes out of the entire field so far tonight. Started low down, made up some places, spun, now making some places again.
It's one of our. Whoa, there's a Porsche in the. Oh, that's not. Oh, that's so unlucky. Who was that just parked in the middle of the road? Was it Pedrero? I think so. Oh no. He probably trying to get a tow going, but just couldn't get it done in time. Oh dear.
Well, the good news is that they're within the pit window, so they can get to the end of the race. As Nikola Jovic, he's done the same as he did earlier on. And that was by a long way. He was nowhere near making that corner. So Stefan struggling with that corner. But yeah, they are within the pit window, so they can just nip back to the pits. They don't have too fast to drive either, pick up their faster pair, and not have to do any additional pit stops. So here's a replay of it. So these were the cars coming across. Oh, the Porsche actually reversed back on, didn't he?
Oh no,
not wise.
No, it was. Now, who was the driver who was parked across the road?
Maybe?
Yes, it was. Yes, good call. Who maybe obviously had an incident of his own and couldn't get the kind of teleport in time to get out of the way. And of course when you come round Stirling's, you are fully committed. There's not really much way to adjust your line, especially when there's lots of cars around you.
Oh, this is Brown just ahead of the leaders.
Oh,
this
no.
is a very... Oh, he's going to struggle to get out of the way here. It might just be worth... I'd be heading off the circuit right now. I'd be too scared. This is Anger's chance. Oh, he's super early on the brakes there was Reasons. And now Brown is going to let one of them go. Is he going to try to get into the pits though? Well, Anger got the inside line anyway. And what's going on behind? Can Brown get into the pits?
Oh, no.
No, he's going to have to do another lap. I believe he wants to come into the pits because he hasn't got any bonnet, but I don't know, he didn't seem particularly eager there.
Well. Well, we did suggest there might have been quite a high attrition rate because Brands Hatch really does ask an awful lot of the car and driver. And interestingly, in qualifying, we saw a lot of drivers actually trying to cool their tyres off to go for another hot lap. And of course, there is virtually no rest for the tyre, and it's not really as if, round the back part of the circuit, okay, you've got maybe a few right-hand corners in a row, but in the infield part, you're left, right. So neither tyre really gets any rest at all. And that obviously keeps the temperature way up. I don't know what we're looking at track temperature right now, but regardless, it's tough. I said no, track temperature is no problem, but regardless, it really does put a lot of stress through the tyre here. Whoa!
Oh no, Brown spun into Dadswell. Oh, has he got any damage, Dadswell? Because that was right into the corner. He may have got away with that because you can see barely any aesthetic difference there, but that can really cave in the wheel. He looks to be alright, but you can't see that coming. Brown really struggling with the damage on that car. Maybe was trying to get back to the pits, but watch out for that later on in the race as Brown. Yeah, he's definitely going to have to come into the pits now. Oh, we got the Porsche round in the background. In the middle of the circuit, we're going to have another Porsche round now. Wow, that was all slow motion there.
Goodness me, it's been a bruising few laps for Steve Brown. Just not his day so far. Now, who's going to be first to blink from the leaders? That's the thing. Is where this is now. This is where an SDK Gaming overlay would be very, very helpful indeed, because the SDK Gaming overlay has a track map where you can see the little they look like M&Ms going around the track. There we are, thanks to our producer Dennis Branch. You can see that as well. Now if you can obviously run with the same graphics we have on our broadcast right now. You can get a SDK Gaming subscription and run with this as you're driving, so that you can keep an eye on where you are in the race, where your rivals are, but also for a race like this one, Sam, we're pitting at the exact moment where you can make sure you've got plenty of clean air, because the last thing you want to do is come out in traffic. That SDK Gaming track map is so useful.
Yeah, it's oh no. I think Dabur must have had damage, because Dabur was the driver who spun. I didn't catch that one. I don't think I want to catch that one.
No, a Dabur, like oversteer, dab, like opposite lock, Dabur, dab of Oppo, Dabur. No, never mind.
I maybe just be silent for a moment whilst the listeners can absorb that one. Wouldn't want them to miss it. Oh no, Maury's crashed. So we saw the incident for Brown earlier on, and then Dabur was the Porsche who spun when he came across Brown, and now we've just had Maury crash. So those were the top two in the amateur category. Dabur was in the lead, spun. Maury was in the lead, spun. And as it always seems to be, it's Callagher who's back to the front. You know, everyone else has problems. And then Callagher's back to the front. Hodgson, to be fair, is close to him. But, I mean, Hodgson as well just always bangs in these results. It's a familiar pattern in these amateur races where kind of Callagher, and Hodgson in particular, but also Karagiet, usually starts off a bit slow, but they're the ones who don't make mistakes.
He's certainly a cool customer, is Juan Manuel Calleja. You can imagine him being like just a guy who goes to the same bar every lunchtime in Seville and sort of stands at the end of the bar with his couple of tapas and one or two small beers, then back to the office with a cigarette on the way back to the office, and then gets into his rig and shows them what's what.
If we would get an interview with him and ask him if that's him, he might be saying.
And then after he's finished here at like 11 at what will be about 10:30 Spanish time, he goes, right, I must go out for dinner now.
They are odd, aren't they?
Oh no, that's the life.
Europeans.
Have a sleep every afternoon. Yes, please. I mean, that's really frowned upon in our culture. I would love that. You get to stay up late. You get to sleep in the afternoon. Brilliant.
Not all of us farmers can, live a life like that, Peter. Come on.
Well, so you do an honourable job for us.
We do try.
Everyone has their favourite brand of tractor. What would be your choice of tractor, Sam?
Oh man, I'm not sure. My granddad used to have a tractor actually, so probably that one. But I have no idea what make it was.
Have you never seen one on the road?
I mean, this was in like the 80s, the 70s or something.
My stepdad is a Scottish championship vintage ploughing. I was going to say racer, but it's not a race. It's like a competition who can plough the straightest. It sounds riveting. I have been offered the commentary gig for it. I've said no though.
Oh wow, God.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you.
I think we should both go. In fact, I'll say I'll do it, but I need to bring Sam Fitzpatrick in. Imagine the pair of us whittering on about ploughing.
I'm up for it. Take me curling whilst we're at it.
Yes, indeed, yeah.
You guys really do have the best sports.
High adrenaline.
Yeah.
Well, you would just sit there and go, well, I'm from Norfolk, so I'm going to decide if that's a good plough or not.
Well, yeah, I am in the authority. Very authoritative, yeah.
Maybe you'll be like legendary. They'll be like, oh my goodness, someone from Norfolk's come to watch. Wow. They know how to plough straight. Kenny Rosen's a bit of traffic here. Getting around the stricken Ferrari of Brown. Now here goes Anger. Is he going to get? He goes. He's going to pick his pocket. Oh no! Little bit of a hip check there, and Brown's going. Oh, I don't know where to go. Just make this end. Oh, he's at a spin in the background. Anger doesn't quite get the move done. I think Steve Brown's just park it up and go and pour a cold beer, because it's just not been his day. And that's a little tippy tap on either side there. Tap to the back of Rosens. Tap from Marriott to the back of Anger. Now, was there a bit of netcode going on there, Sam? I think there might have been.
Right, there was Anger, and Anger straight away realised, oh, I've hit this guy, I shouldn't overtake. Got on the brakes, and Marriott really had nowhere to go. So Anger should escape any penalty there. I mean, it's up to Reasons if he wants to protest that one. But, of course, if Anger had got past and then went on to win the race, that would be a slam dunk protest, and maybe Anger's escaped that one there, keeping in Reasons' good books. But, no, yeah, once again, backmarkers. It's had a very influential race so far tonight. Has already changed the amateur lead. He changed the pro lead right there.
Andrew Thompson said he would have a Massey Ferguson.
Yep.
Massey Ferguson. My stepdad, he's a Ford man. I would go a Valtra, because you can order. The thing is, if John Deere's are green, Massey Ferguson's are red, Ford's are blue. Valtra, you can have whatever colour you like. You could have a British Racing green Valtra if you really wanted. I finally broke Sam Fitzpatrick.
Well, yeah. Sorry, I was trying to. Well, I was just thinking. Could you not just paint it?
Well, you could, but you're too busy working.
Yeah, good point. We can't afford paint.
Nope.
Okay.
You can afford a $100,000 tractor, but not paint.
No.
Jeremy Clarkson's got a Lamborghini tractor.
Well, that's what came into my mind initially. Haven't been watching the show, by the way. I'm not a fan of the man, but no,
you're
that
not,
takes
Sam.
my mind.
Ah.
No.
You're not a Jeremy Clarkson fan. See, I'm for the generation of coming home from school and watching double episodes of Top Gear from.
Oh no, that's my generation as well. Yeah.
Is it? Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, of course they were on. They did go round the circles on Dave for quite some years. That's for sure. You're more of a James May man, are you?
He is my favourite of the three. Oh, leader in. That is Reasons. Interesting. Now, you should be able to go further than this, because even at Red Bull Ring, they're going 38 minutes, I think. Around this place, you should be able to go 40 minutes. So I'm surprised Reasons has had to pit so early. Must have been a choice.
He's probably thinking, I'm not able to run. Because Anger's right on his case, he could see the train behind. Maybe he's thinking, I just need to I can't concentrate, can't do the rhythm that I want. And Brands Hatch is definitely not a fuel-heavy circuit, because you're off the throttle quite a lot, flowing around the corners, and there's not too many like really heavy braking zones and then really hard acceleration zones. So, interesting. Now. Rosens has already got going. The pit lane is very, very busy. Maybe that's what Rosens was wanting to avoid, not want to come out with lots of traffic. I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
I honestly cannot call this.
Most people have pitted, so maybe it's just the fuel isn't going very long. Maybe I was just being thick. Actually, they use loads of fuel around this place, but
I think
surprised because there's not many slow-speed corners. You'd think that they could just flow it in from one corner to another, but everyone is into the pit, so it wasn't necessarily him pitting early, it was just maybe these guys managing to stretch it out another lap, and this is probably where the race is going to be decided. Anger, when we were riding on board with him, admittedly it was only for a few corners, didn't seem to be lifting and coasting, but he would have saved some fuel. The gap was about 8/10 before, so he needs an 8/10 quicker pit stop. So he needs something around 18.5 seconds, I think, Anger. He's coming up to 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18.5. It's going to be
Marriott's on the way. Marriott's jumped them all. Oh, Porsche economy there. And oh, here comes Rosens. Oh my goodness me. Rosens is going to snip his nose off. But Marriott hops the lot of them.
Oh, here comes Rosens, though.
Oh.
He's back up the inside. Marriott's left himself vulnerable. He'd done it. But he's left him the inside open.
Oh, no.
And the BMW retakes the lead. Marriott will be kicking himself. He just didn't cover off the move into Druids quick enough. And if he's going to win this race, he's surely got to jump back straight away because there was no breaching Rosens' defence in the first half of the race.
No, that's true. And if you're getting anger, you're thinking, they're just not quite, maybe didn't quite save enough fuel in that early stage. Oh, well. What a battle we've got here. And actually, I have to say, well done to Kenny Rosens. He would have been screaming, I'm sure, when he saw Marriott pop out in front of him. I don't think that's quite what he was expecting. A bright yellow and black, fiercely forward Porsche, but able to get the counter move. So this is game on now with 23 minutes to go. What an intriguing race this is. And Marriott, God, he's going full attack. Well, what is it about French drivers in Porsches at full maximum attack? We've got our resident Kevin Estre here.
Not usually the best car. Well, it's not a bad car down the straights, I guess, is the Porsche. As far as I know, Rosens going defensive. That's what he's got to do. Anger's right on the tail of these drivers. And also, Fletcher dropped back a bit. So the pit stop times, by the way, sorry, I should really go through the pit stop times. So Rosens was 19.2, Marriott's 18.0. So you can understand 1.2 seconds gained there. Anger was 18.8. So I think, I doubt Marriott would have saved that much more fuel than Anger. I imagine maybe Marriott's banks on there being one less lap than what Anger and Rosens would have predicted, and maybe that will leave him in trouble later on if the pace is strong enough for these guys to push it another lap. I can't predict how many laps we're going to get. Maybe it's not marginal, or maybe it's right on the cusp and the fuel calculators are disagreeing with one another.
Oh, it's going to be tight. It's going to be so tight as well, and it's going to come down to wheel-to-wheel battle as well. 21 minutes to go on the clock. How far do we go through? That's the thing, is sometimes we just cross the finish line at that point, or could go another minute and a bit after that. So, game on here at Brands Hatch. And what can Gaten Anger do? Because you got to think that he's thinking, I've maybe got the pace here, but he's got two cars in the way. And what's brilliant to see as well is 3 manufacturers in the top 3. Shows you that Brands Hatch is it's a circuit that actually demands everything. There is some high-speed bits. You are just up into top gear, I think, when you're entering paddock and you go back a couple of gears. But it's just got a bit of everything. It's a wonderful racetrack.
Wiggins is round.
Oh, Wiggins.
He was fighting really well earlier on, was Wiggins, but that is a mistake heading into Dingledell. Here, there's already a Porsche off in the background, but focusing on Wiggins, and he drove in way too deep onto the gravel. Couldn't keep control of the car. By the way, I said earlier on how I'd be surprised if there weren't 5 or 6 drivers who got the pit lane penalty for crossing the... Anger's got past. Anger's up into 2nd place. That's important. Well, that is... I'd love to see where he's got that one done. That was an epic move. At the end of the back straight here. So Marriott just hasn't been himself since the pit stop. Remember, he didn't cover off the inside line earlier on, and he had just a bit of a shaky start of this lap, and actually let past Anger. So not too interested in the win. They're not teammates, but fellow countrymen, I guess.
I think it's more a fuel number. I think he's now second guessing his fuel calculation. I think you hit the nail on the head there, Sam, is that I think Marriott has run it really, really, maybe closer than he maybe anticipated. And Gavin Russell, teammate Taryn Smith there, spin going around onto the Brabham straight, which is anything but. It is full throttle, but it's not really straight. Anyway, this is fascinating now to see what Anger can do. Does he have an answer for Rosens? And the thing is, though, Gaten Anger has won his championships by being a thinking driver. The funny thing is, Sam, he doesn't actually need to beat Rosens. I know that's not what we should say as entertainment mongering commentators, but actually, you know, Gaten Anger's intelligence could play in here rather than throwing everything at it and potentially crashing to get one win. Actually, the grander prize is the championship, and he'll know that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and his closest rival Newman's down at 13. I think Newman should be able to make up maybe... Oh, well, Dadswell has had a bad pit stop sequence. Sorry for missing Dadswell, but he was up in 5th place earlier on. Dadswell, what was his pit stop time like? Oh, yeah, 23.12. I don't know what Dadswell was playing at there. Maybe seeing his kids.
Hey.
Because his surname. But he certainly lost 4 seconds then, and these guys are so closely matched, and now he's going to be overtaken by Sticks. Didn't really fight that one very hard there. Dadswell, he was superb back at Red Bull Ring. He finished like within 5 seconds of the loop, probably his best race in ARL history, but just falling away from him as this race goes on. But yeah, Newman might be able to make up maybe 1 place, maybe 2 places. I don't think he'll get past Hereford. I think Dadswell is probably the most likely driver he'll get past. So really not going well for him. And finally, to a point that I was trying to make about 2 minutes ago before Anger got past Marriott, but I was saying earlier on how 5 or 6 drivers would get the pit lane penalty tonight. The only driver who did, seemingly, was Alain Karagiet. He was running up in 4th position in the amateur category, I believe. Maybe 3rd position, in fact, I believe. But he lost 40 seconds. So the 2nd place man in the amateur championship having problems, and with Juan Manuel Correa still beating Jason Hodgson at the moment. To say, Correa is going to extend his championship lead tonight.
Looks like it. Yeah, he's in the spot to do that at the moment. And he's been super consistent in that BMW M4 GT3, which actually didn't meant to make its outdoor debut, shall we say, at the Nürburgring at the weekend. But I think they had a crash in practice, so didn't actually make the start of the race because obviously the car is so new. There's not really any spare parts or spare chassis for it. So, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be ready for the NLS double header in next weekend, which I've got the privilege of commentating on both races for the for Radio Le Mans and for the English feed. So really looking forward to seeing this car. I feel like we know it really well now because it's part of the furniture now on iRacing. It's going to be strange to see it make its debut in inverted commas out in the outdoor world.
Usually it's very strange to see a new car on circuit, but yeah, you're probably just kind of thinking, oh, yeah, seen it loads of times already. It's I do love the look of it, and it's been a cool addition. So cool for iRacing to have so many good GT3s. It's a category that was really fading on iRacing until 6 months ago, but yeah, the new cars have really revitalised it. So it's awesome to see for this race, as I don't know what's going on with Dadswell. I'd be saying, oh, maybe he's got too much fuel in. But, sorry, too little fuel in. He put more fuel in than anyone else. And, well, yeah, I think something's going on with him because he's already lost the, well, he's going to lose a place to Newman pretty quick. In fact, Newman actually got past Hereford, so I was doubting if he could make that move, but he has done that. As Tabone, wow, this is close. This is Tabone versus Poulet. I think this is still Tabone defending this position. They've both just gone terribly slow through the first sector. The first sector is 10 seconds long. They've just lost 1.5 seconds through it. I don't know how they've done that, the two of them. But real, like, slowing each other up, I guess. But they're still in the same order as they were.
Yeah, just trying to break that deadlock. If a driver doesn't make a mistake, it's difficult to make that move here at Brands Hatch. That early mistake, and it was very early for Sven Newman, that's cost him so dearly, as with Anger up front. And that's actually given, I think if Newman hadn't made that mistake, Anger maybe wouldn't have been able to be so relaxed in second place right now, or relatively relaxed. But because Newman is outside the top 10 at this point, he doesn't really need to have a go for that win. And of course, not every driver is happy to do that. A lot of drivers, you know, they cannot help it but go for a win, and that's brilliant. but Anger's style is just that metronomic consistency, almost the Colin Turkington style, and that's worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, I won the theoretical winter series, obviously,
Indeed.
as you all know, Peter, I'm sure all the viewers know as well. And in that season, didn't win a race, but consistent finishes will always pay off. Always like to get that one in there a couple of times a week.
You're running the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup, which will be broadcast tomorrow night on Apex Racing TV. Has been very much the story of that. Is avoiding. You seem to have a force field around your car to get through what the myriad of incidents.
Well, yeah, I keep on hearing drivers saying, "Oh, I can't finish a race in this series." I've had, I think, 16 starts, and I had to use the fast pair once. Finished every race. So yeah.
Yeah, that really calms
helped.
things down, Sam, when you say that.
yeah. Do what I do. What's wrong with you? Yeah. So no, that's gone. That's gone all right. But yeah, it helps to have all the iRacing background codes to get the damage hacks and such. So yep, make the most of them.
So, just under 12 minutes, right on 12 minutes to go here at Brands Hatch. And I tell you what, Kenny Rosens really has, Angel Pedrero hits problems again. Kenny Rosens really has dropped the hammer. As soon as he got that clean air, he said, right, no more Mr. Nice Guy, I'm out of here. And he's pulled out a couple of tenths a lap on Anger over the last 5 or 6 laps and really got quite a good advantage now to control it to the end of the race. As Pascal Sticks, a little bit of formation flying there, I think, from Corsom Racing. Just says, right, teammate, I'm not in the championship fight, you are, on you go.
Sticks was very slow that last time round, 23.5. You know what that was about? Because they're all super close behind. Now they're separated a bit now because Hereford's gone off the track. You'll have Winkler. Winkler was up in 9th place earlier, actually. What happened to Winkler? Wasn't a bad pit stop for him. Although he wasn't very quick on that last lap, maybe just suffering the lack of pace in the closing stage. Also a bit of damage as well on that front left. Hodgson's right on the tail now of Kahea. Only 1 point difference, I believe, between 17th and 18th place overall. So once again, the amateur drivers scored their points for their overall position amongst the pro and the AMs, not just within the amateur category. So there's not that much at stake here, but I'm sure Kahea would want to get another race win under his belt. But Hodgson has been very quick tonight. He started only in 9th position in the amateur category, actually. To be fair, even Kahea only started in 7th position in the amateur category, but they've both found their way up. They're a long way ahead of Morley now. So, Hodgson, I don't believe has won an amateur race so far, but so he'd like to get this one done. But Kahea has the championship to worry about as well.
Indeed, and just as we said, this might not be BMW circuit. We've got a BMW in the leader both classes. What do we know? But that really hasn't been the story. I think I think Kenny Rosens has been the man who's made the difference here, because he was under so much heat early on from Anger and from Marriott and Fletcher, who were right there as well. Handled that. Had to see Marriott go flying past him on the pit exit, and then immediately got the move done and just pulled away. This has been a really impressive performance, and it's just strange to say that Rosens isn't in the championship fight, because he really has been the guy we've been talking about so much up the front.
This will be his 3rd race win out of 6 races. So shows how good he is. But yeah, that bad race at Monza, and then not being around at Red Bull Ring, pretty much ended his chances. No, he won't be that far behind Newman after tonight, to be fair, so maybe he could bring it back. But also the fact that, of course, his job score is so bad late, you really cannot afford to really finish off the podium for the rest of the season, whereas Anger's drop score is so good that he could not finish the next round and still have a kind of good backup. So no, it is a shame that we're not going to see him have a proper shot. Ooh, that's a shot into the wall. Perry, he was on the tail of Hodgson. I wonder if that's to do with Hodgson at all. By the way, we'd just like to give a quick shout out to Apex Racing Academy for sponsoring this season, also providing awesome prizes for the champions in the professional and the amateur categories, and the teams championship, I believe, as well, as we see the incident for Perry. Apex Racing Academy with 29 data packs. That's 29 different cars basically covered with setups, chat guides, weekly group coaching sessions as well, and all those setups, all those data packs follow the official series in each car. So I believe at least 2 or 3 of these GT3 cars are covered. It's all made pretty clear over on the Apex Racing Academy website. And it's really a great place for you to improve your driving. And also there's a brilliant way to get potentially a year's free subscription to maybe a gold, silver or bronze membership. So all you need to do is well, go to the social media page, because they'll explain it better than me. So go to Instagram, Twitter or Facebook. But if you just follow Apex Racing Academy, well, I think you've got to opt in first, but if you opt in and then follow on those platforms and do a couple of other tasks as well, you enter tickets for a draw where you'll get some prizes. So certainly do check that out. Styx has gone off the circuit. That's the end of his day. He was running in 11th, I believe, and he did seem a little bit slow before that, Peter. Although he had, well, judging by these images, he'd been able to pull away slightly, but he wasn't immune to a mistake.
No, not quite. Easy to do when you're running such rapid pace. Let's see what happened. Oh, it just twitches away from the... Oh, dear me, that wall is closer than I remember. Goodness me. Coming around Westfield Bend, that is very quick in a GT3 car. You're really leaning on the aerodynamics, and it just seemed like he maybe just ran a little bit wide, and that caught him out, and the car just snapped on him. Not used to seeing the BMW look so nervous like that.
See, that type of incident blows my mind, how on earth we can have motorbikes around this place. I mean, how do we not have like much worse incidents in motorbikes when the walls are that close? I mean, that could easily imagine high-siding there. I mean, freaking hell.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest inventions in motor racing history, the recticel barrier. It's amazing how... not only is it amazing how, much more importantly, that it can protect the rider, but in the context of car racing, it can obviously protect the driver, but it's amazing how it protects the car as well. Your car doesn't end up in a million pieces, which is obviously welcome to the owner of the car. It's an amazing piece of a technology, the recticel barrier. And yeah, you see someone come off there on a motorbike, you think, oh my goodness me, surely that's going to be really quite nasty, and the rider gets up and sort of dusts himself off, and you think, how's that even possible? But yeah, it's obviously not completely foolproof, obviously. But ask any of the riders what their favourite circuit is on the calendar. They'll probably tell you Brands Hatch, funnily enough.
Smith's into the podium places. Maury with another mistake. Really could have won tonight, Maury. Did lead for a bit, but just been a bit too error prone. And we'll say fastest laps as well in the early stage. We've seen there's lap time flash up in purple a few times earlier on, but no, he just hasn't been able to keep it up since then. Down to fourth. Smith somehow in third, despite being having a very problematic start to the race. Grebstad, well, these guys have just been super close throughout. Tabone fairly close to Paluch, albeit that's a bit bigger than what's been on the most part in this race. Then Poulet, Penn, Grebstad. Newman's Newman's not really going to come close to catching up to these guys. 3.6 seconds back. He's a couple of tenths of a lap faster. And just see him in the background there. I think the most likely move is Penn versus Grebstad. And heading into Druids, Grebstad wasn't able to get past. There they are.
So, 3 and a bit minutes to go here at Brands Hatch. In the lead at the moment, Kenny Rosens leads by 1.7 seconds from Gaten Anger, who in turn has a 1.1 second advantage back to Maxime Marriott, who we're not convinced is entirely comfortable on fuel. However, does have a little bit of a gap back to Mark Fletcher, so he could sort of just take it steady over the next couple of laps and try and hit the fuel number if he can. But hopefully he won't have a what's been a, to be honest, the fuel save or not, the Maxime Marriott's his drive has been very, very good indeed, and top Porsche by some distance. Oh, that's not clever.
Yep, that's smart. Off into the go for the second time tonight. I thought he'd learnt by now. That's kind of a pun. I don't think it's a very good
one. No, that's good. That's
a bit
good.
More indirect, a bit more subtle, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, use your brakes. Didn't use the brakes.
Oh dear, oh dear. Well, not like Kieran Smart. He's not a guy you see in the gravel very often, but not been his night in the GT3 car. So now, how are we looking for the AM class? Juan Manuel Calleja still leads, but by 2 seconds. So he's in comfort at the moment, ish. And I tell you what, look at that. You know, his car, not a mark on that machine. It just shows you why he's been clocking up these AM class wins so often.
And Karagiet, I don't think it's going to score points tonight, because Karagiet, I wonder if he had a second crash. He's actually turning back to the pits, so he will not score points. That could be huge for the championship, because Calleja will be scoring 30 points, I imagine. Yeah, probably about 30 points. I think he'll be wrapping up. So that will be a big increase in the championship. And all of them had a bad race, so it's not as though Karagiet's drop score is going to be particularly strong. So, wow, Calleja, probably the favourite heading into this round anyway for the championship. But he's taking a big step forwards tonight. Grebstad, super close again. Penn knows what he's got to do, but he's left the door a bit open. Nearly an opportunity for the Luminous Racing tries to nip up the inside, but he's actually the one offline. It's going to take him probably the rest of the lap just to get back within a couple of tenths of a second again.
Bad news for fans of Maxime Marriott. I think we're going to just go another lap. So about as long as this race really could have been, it's going to go that far. So hopefully he's okay on fuel, but in fact he must be, because he's right on the tail of Gaten Anger here. So maybe the Porsche, maybe just that little bit better on fuel. Maybe Maxime's style a little bit more efficient as well. We shall see. But Kenny Rosens comes round Sterling's for what will be the penultimate time. And in fact, Marriott is actually laying on the pressure hard to Gaten Anger. And will he make a move on his compatriot? Which, well, I'm sure Gaten Anger will be ready to try and defend it. But, white flag. A little bit of intrigue here. So whatever Marriott's been able to do, he's been able to make this strategy work.
Yeah. Well, it's a bit more annoying that he I know. Marriott's a much better driver than I, so I feel bad criticising him. But I was a bit annoyed when he didn't cover the line off into Druids when he came out of the pits, because he had the inside line. You know, it's tricky because the tyres are cooled down a little bit. You're getting back into your rhythm. And so he just didn't carry enough speed through turn one, didn't cover the inside line enough, and was kind of mugged a bit by Reasons. Albeit, I'm not sure how desperate he was for the race win tonight, seeing they let Anger past fairly quickly afterwards anyway. So it'd been a good drive though from Reasons, and with Newman down in 10th place, I think this could be quite a happy, certainly top two on the podium.
Indeed, it's a very, very strong run for all of these guys, for Marriott, for Anger, but really the man of the meeting, Kenny Rosens, comes around Clark Curve for the final time. Checkered flag waves here at Brands Hatch. He flashes the lights and wins here at Brands Hatch in the Apex Racing League GT Trophy, a third win of the season. Gaten Anger, once again, Mr. Consistency, comes home second with Maxime Marriott, his fellow Frenchman, in third. Mark Fletcher finishing fourth. Wait for the BMW of Mick Palich and the BMW of Tabone to round out the top 6 runners as well. Now, we look back for our AM class leader, Juan Manuel Calleja, and he's on a cruise here as well. Comes around Westfield for the final time, down Dingledale, and he's in control. And yet another AM class win for the Spaniard, and like you mentioned, Sam, this puts him in perfect position for a charge for that title to the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what his advantage might be. I might give an update after today, but he was 27 points ahead of Erdin heading into this round. Certainly Hodgson will now be second place, but there's the win for Calleja. Excellent drive. Hodgson in a very strong second place as well, so Hodgson will move up into second place in the championship after that round, but the gap will be 27 points, I believe, for Calleja, which is quite a bit, especially in the amateur category where these guys are usually in amongst the points areas where it's only 1 point between each position. So you can imagine basically Calleja just needs to not be beaten by 27 positions across the final 3 meetings of the season. So no, it's looking excellent for him right now after this Brands Hatch round.
So there you go, confirming Kenny Rosen's your winner by 2.5 seconds from Gaten Anger, who solidifies his lead at the top of the championship. Maxime Marriott rounded out the podium in his Porsche for Fiercely Forward Racing. Another brilliant drive from the Frenchman. Mark Fletcher finished in 4th, followed by Mick Palich, Brandon Tabone, Jonathan Poulet, Leon Penn, Hakon Grebstad, and Sven Newman getting on into the top 10 after an early mistake. How costly might that prove to be? Anders Ankersen was 11th in Pro. Once again, Juan Manuel Calleja was your winner in the AM class by 2 seconds from Jason Hodgson in the Lamborghini, with Aaron Smith rounding out the podium in his Lamborghini. Dan Mori finished in 4th, followed by Josh Wiggins, Dennis Meisner, Phil Reagan, Angel Pedrero, Alain Caragier, and Gavin Russell rounded out the top 10 in 16 laps back from the leader. Well, Sam, Kenny Rosens has been, he really has been the star of the show. And in fact, while you have a look at the points, why don't we get him in for a chat? Kenny Rosens, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary box. That, sir, was a champion's drive.
Yeah, it was a really tough race, not gonna lie. I had some good pressure for Gaetan and Maxime. Yeah, but still managed to keep the lead. So yeah, I'm super happy with this one.
Coming out, tell me what your thoughts were, Kenny, when you came in to do your pit stop, and you unfortunately appeared with a bright yellow Porsche in your way. Did you expect Maxime to leap past everybody in the pit stops?
So I knew that I had to try to save fuel because Gaetan Maxime will go 1 lap longer than me with the draft. Mm-hmm. So for the first stint, I was trying to save fuel, but it was impossible. So I think 5 laps before the pit, I start pushing. I had the 8/10 gap. Then I lose the gap with a back marker. But yeah, after that, I wasn't expecting to be leading after the pit. I thought honestly Gaetan will be leading, not Maxime. I'm surprising that I was still ahead of Gaetan. But yeah, I saw Maxime went wide in the exit of turn 1, so I just went on the inside right after the exit, and then I had the inside. So I think he had no chance to stay on the outside on the European.
Oh, it was a very good move. It was, and just at the right point as well, Kenny. I mean, tell us a bit about the rest of the race as well, because you had Gaten did get past Maxime Marriott, but couldn't lay a glove on you. I presume you were pushing very hard in that last section because you really pulled a nice gap.
Yeah, I was kind of pushing last stint, even if I wasn't confident with the track. I think during the practice I broke like 10 times on the grass in not the last corner but the one before, so I wasn't really confident. But yeah, it was the second stint was very good. Pace was good, so yeah, I'm super happy.
And this is now your third win in the championship, but for a missed round and a couple of pieces of bad luck, it's the championship is still mathematically possible. But what are your thoughts heading into the last few races about a potential charge for the championship late on?
Well, I think the last two races can be interesting since Corentin is getting on pace. Sadly, this race he has an issue with the game, but Nolan and Amory will also be here at Spa and Nürburgring, so they can potentially help me to catch the gap with Gaetan in the championship. So I think it can be really interesting.
That sounds very interesting to me indeed, Kenny. Kenny, congratulations on a super drive and another win. It was a pleasure to watch, and go and enjoy a well-earned beer.
Thank you, guys. Bye bye.
So that was Kenny Rosens, our race winner, and he's in a fine fettle, Sam.
As he should be.
Hmm.
I'm just on the points, by the way. So in the overall in the Pro Championship, Anger's at the top with 218, and then we go 22 points back to Sven Newman. Kenny Rosens in third position, a further 7 points back. Maxime Marriott as well, another 5 points back. Those four quite a bit ahead of the rest. Winkler, Tabone, Poulet, and Co. after that. So those top four still all with a chance, but as long as Anger gets podiums to the end of the season, he should be all right. In the Amateur Championship, it is Kahea with 95, Hodgson with 67, and Kajiet with 65. So that kind of gets across just how many points Kahea has managed to accumulate over the last few meetings, because that is quite a handy advantage for him at the moment. We're going to have another interview now with our third place, I believe, in the amateur standings in the end. Aaron Smith, congratulations on that result, and it wasn't a very it wasn't a very easy path to that podium. I kind of looked up at the end and questioned how on earth you got back up there, because you had a few setbacks.
Yeah, just a couple setbacks. At the start of the race, it was utter chaos. Just spins, crashes left and right, and trying to avoid them. And eventually, I got caught up in one or two myself. But yeah, I'm surprised third today as well. Starting like in 30 seconds, because of course I had that quali ban. But I mean, considering where I finished, I think it clearly shows that today I had the pace to keep up with some of the top guys. Because in the end, I was only 6 or 5 seconds behind the amateur leader. So perhaps if I hadn't been involved in these accidents, or maybe if I had not had that quali ban, I could have possibly fought for a victory today. But nonetheless, it was still a ton of fun to drive. I love Brands Hatch. So
Yeah, I was just about to ask you kind of what your thoughts on this circuit is, because it's really tricky. I mean, for at least myself and many drivers out here tonight, of course, struggled with the circuit. But did you manage to find quite a good groove with it?
yeah, I mean, it's a track I'm used to. I only live about 20 minutes away from the track, so it's pretty much a home race for me. And I've always loved this track. Just on any sim that I've played, Brands Hatch just is such a fun track to drive. It's not too difficult. It just all gels really nicely in pretty much whatever car you drive. It's just so satisfying when you get it right.
We've still got 3 more races of the season to go. Next up, we've got Imola. What's your thoughts on that circuit, and how much practice are you going to be able to do for that one? Because we've got a fortnight until that one. So does that mean that you're going to have more time to practice for that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, in my personal opinion, Imola is the greatest racing circuit on the planet. I absolutely love it. It's my number one favorite track. So hopefully I can bag a good result there, especially since I don't believe I have a quali ban anymore. So hopefully I can qualify fairly high up and possibly fight for a win. That would be really nice coming off the back of this weekend.
We wish you the best of luck for that one. Aaron, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
My team, Zem Racing. Unfortunately for Gavin today, he didn't have a great race, but hopefully he can come stronger in 2 weeks' time. Everyone at Apex for putting on this. It's amazingly fun to drive every single time I do these races. It's so fun just to drive with everyone, and especially today, I really enjoyed it. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having a chat with us, Aaron, and yeah, best of luck at Imola.
Cheers, guys.
Aaron Smith there, the third place finisher in the amateur category. Quick shout out, by the way, to Virtual Racing School for sponsoring this this series. Virtual Racing School with over 50 data packs on offer, and that covers both road and oval racing. Which is absolutely awesome. Cover pretty much everything that you can possibly drive on iRacing. Setups, track guides, data analysis software, and one-on-one coaching. It's also integrated with Apex Racing Academy, so you can use the brilliant setup sync technology that Apex Racing Academy uses for your virtual racing school setups and replays. So basically, whenever you load up into the iRacing sim, all the setups, everything that you need is downloaded straight there. You don't need to be downloading a file onto the on the website, then moving it over to the correct file directory. It's all there straight away, thanks to that technology. So it's really useful, really easy to use, and it's really useful to improve your performance on iRacing.
Couldn't recommend it any higher, that is for sure. Well, that is all we have time for tonight on Apex Racing TV. We hope you enjoyed this broadcast of the Apex Racing League GT Trophy from Brands Hatch. Myself and Sam Fitzpatrick will see you in a couple of weeks' time, and thanks for watching. Good night.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross world champion Mitchell de Jong
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
and many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.